awkwardly trying to pull away because, I didn't know what to do with myself, and he just would not let go of my hand. And eventually he did, and we left. And man, the scene in that car afterwards was, I don't think people really realize, what these things do for people that have nothing. And those kids probably in the foster care system now, but they had one day, just one day where they didn't have to worry about any of that.
And now, America's healthcare advocate, Carrie Hall.
Hello, America. Welcome to America's Healthcare Advocate Show, broadcasting coast to coast across the USA here on the HIA Radio Network. You can find out more about us by going to our website, americashealthcareadvocate.com, and all of our podcast platforms. There are 16 of them. Our YouTube channel. All of our shows are posted up there for everybody to listen to after we do them. They are posted on those sites. Here's some news. We're at 605,000 views, thanks to Mr. Dave Thiessen, our producer behind the cameras, and Mr. Garner County, who records all these shows here in the studio at Cumulus. And I couldn't believe it today when he told me we're at 605,000. That's a tribute to all of you who listen to this show. Go to the websites, go to the podcast, go to YouTube. Thank you. We appreciate all of you out there and really appreciate the opportunity to bring this show to you where we hope we educate and inform, and that's the purpose of these shows. If you are chronologically challenged or looking for an ACA Obamacare plan, you need to give Carol Lee Steele over at RPS Benefits by Design a call, 877-385-2224. Anywhere in the country, she can help you. She's happy to do so. Also, if you are an employer facing one of these big premium increases coming through on your group plan, you need to talk to Maria Allers at RPS Benefits by Design. She's got some pretty amazing plans she can offer you. And here's the thing about her. She was a human resource director for 15 years, so she knows both sides of the equation, the side of the equation from the employer and employee standpoint, as well as the broker. And she's got access to some plans that other people don't have. I urge you to call her at 877-385-2224 if you're getting one of those renewals. So in studio today with me, John Massey. He is the president and one of the founders of Zuzu's Petals. This is a charity, and we've been doing this show every year for 5 years?
Just about.
Yeah, I think it's our fifth one now. This is a group of young men that I just think are a tribute to what young men in this country should be. Kind of like Charlie Kirk, if you will, from the standpoint of who they are, what they do. They're Christian men in the Catholic faith, and they created this whole thing by themselves because they saw a need out there for families at Christmas who didn't have the money or the wherewithal to provide Christmas for their children. So let's just go right to this. This is the 5th year we've been doing this. Mm-hmm. I always enjoy hearing how many kids got served last year and how this is. So let's just do that first, because I love hearing this every year because it just keeps growing exponentially.
Yes, sir. Well, that was a heck of an introduction. I'm very grateful.
It's fact.
Yeah. So last year we were able to help 208 kids, which came to 71 whole families service. So we try to approach our services as we're providing this to a family rather than an individual child, because we believe that family is the foundation of society, right? And that's what we're trying to bring joy and happiness to at that very important time of year when wanted, I think, is most keenly felt. So that was a record for us. And then we're out there to break it again this year. We've already got, I believe it's 230 kids in the hopper at the moment. And it's October, so that number's just going to keep on climbing and climbing and climbing.
Especially after this show airs.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited. We're beyond grateful. We've been very blessed with how the community's gotten behind it so far. And we can't wait to see where it goes. Every year it just gets a little more serious. And we're along for the ride for sure.
So tell the audience what you do, because this is the part that I think is really quite amazing. What they do is very, very different. It's like turnkey Christmas. It's really quite remarkable. Describe what you do for these families.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So our broad goal is to enable families to create core memories that they get to take with them for the rest of their life. And for me, Christmas was always the happiest time of year for me. All of my happiest memories I have as a kid, I'm one of 7 kids, were all on Christmas Day. And what we want to do is use Christmas as a vehicle to help these families that are really struggling. It's some really tough times are being experienced out there. Use Christmas as a vehicle to create some memories that they can hold on to. And how we do that is through 4 major services. And every family receives all 4. So the first service is almost like a make-a-wish for Christmas gifts. So what we do is when families approach us, they say, I'm in need, I'm in such and such financial situation. We'll ask them in the interviews that we have with all the families, if this was your one opportunity to get your kids whatever you wanted to get them, what would that be? And then we'll step in, within the realms of what's reasonable, and we'll fulfill
get a new car.
Right. As much as we'd love to get them,
Yeah.
but we'll fulfill those requests. Next, because once again, we're about family, we're trying to think of ways to bring the family together, later on Christmas Day. And so we're like, all of my memories with my family were all around Christmas dinner. And so we step in and we provide them a dinner that they can come together as a family and enjoy. So that is courtesy of Brancato's Catering here in Kansas City. Wonderful. Amazing company.
Yeah.
We couldn't be more grateful for their support. And so every family gets, Christmas dinner with all the fixings. They get turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, sweet potato pie, cranberry sauce, like everything you ever had on Christmas Day as a family, these families are going to get.
And that's brought to their door, ready to eat. And by the way, Brancato's are the folks that own the Brass Onion restaurant over on 135th. And I urge you, if you want to have a great meal, go in there. But these people do so much in this community nobody hears about. And they do this for Zuzu's Petals. And, being able to provide the entire meal and walk into the door is pretty special.
Yep. Yeah. And so in addition to that, what we also do is provide decorations for the family. So, just little things that I'm sure we all take for granted.
Yeah.
A lot of these families don't have a Christmas tree, and so we get them a Christmas tree. We get them decorations for the tree so that they can, the mom and the kids and the dad, can hang around the tree, decorate it, listen to some Christmas music while they're doing it. And then the 4th part of the service, which is personally my favorite, is Santa's Workshop. So we rent out a house every year. We decorate it to the nth degree. We don't hire a Santa Claus. Santa actually comes down from the North Pole with us for a day. And then all of the families get to bring in their kids to spend 30 minutes with Santa Claus. And Mrs. Santa Claus is there as well. So she's the one that actually greets them. We have all sorts of activities for the families, like roasting marshmallows. They have hot chocolate. They have one-on-one meetings with Santa where Santa's like, now, I know that you were sticking gum in Jane's hair last week. Like, why are we doing that? Come on, we got to get beyond this if you want anything for Christmas. And they just get to have one magical experience where Santa's talking to them and he knows who they are and he knows, if they've been good or bad this year. And it's just so much fun. It is so much fun. And so that's what we try to bring families, is just one experience, through these services where no matter how hard life gets for them, and a lot of the time it's heartbreaking what these families are going through, that they just get to hold on to and say there is good in the world that we got to experience.
Yeah, it is. And the first time I heard about these guys, I was like, this is really quite remarkable. And every year I've done this show, they've added things, they've improved it, they've served more families. They'll blow past 250 kids this year. I can almost guarantee it. For people that would have no Christmas if they didn't do what they're doing. So let's give out the website so that if folks want to get involved or they want to donate, they can donate money. There are other things they can donate. So let's give out the website and then the phone number.
Absolutely. So our website is zuzus-petals.org. That's ZUZUS-PETALS.org. Some of the ways you can support us is one, donations are the obvious one. These services cost money, they're expensive, but that we're trying to create very unique experiences for these families. So please donate. We also take heart donations like gifts, decorations. So please send those to us. You can attend our annual gala and then also support us by buying some of our merch. Our Christmas sweater has officially been released for the year, and any of our additional merches.
So is her hat.
Our hat,
And I got
that's
one.
right.
Okay, so these are all things you can do. All right, we're going to right back after the break with you. We'll talk about this gala, what's involved, why you might want to go and get involved. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate, broadcasting here on the HIA Radio Network, coast to coast, across the USA. Stay there. We're going to be right back with more. Welcome back. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate Show, broadcasting coast to coast across the USA here on the HIA Radio Network. I want to give a little shout out today to KGOZ 101.7 in Trenton and Gallatin, Missouri. I think it's our oldest affiliate in the system. They have been with us since we started this show. Dave tells me 20 years ago, so I've kind of lost track. But we want to thank those folks up there. They do a wonderful job for having us on the air all the years that we're up there. We're on the air Saturday. I think it's around 8 or 9 o'clock there on KGOZ 101.7. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this gala. Let's start with that, because this happens every year at Country Club Christian. It's on December 12th this year. Talk about time and then what's going to happen there.
Absolutely. So this is by far, with all of the calendar events that I have every year, this is my favorite. So Country Club Christian Church, you know, that beautiful gorgeous old church on Ward Parkway, we rent that out. And then starting at 5:30, we have a Christmas party. There's a silent auction with all of this awesome Chiefs memorabilia. You graciously donated some last year, which...
You'll donate more this year.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Raised us some really great money. There's live music during the party, and it's just a really wonderful sort of festive environment where a bunch of people that don't know each other are hanging out, you know, which I think is something that we probably need nowadays, you know?
And doing something that everybody can enjoy and get their arms around, and it's something good.
Absolutely, absolutely. So people that have never met before are talking, making connections. And then at 7 o'clock, everyone adjourns into the main hall where you will, I mean, if you are even remotely into Christmas music at all, it is the best thing you will ever experience. We have a choir of almost 50 members. There's a full orchestra, and we play music. We tell stories, Christmas stories that you would have heard growing up, that we, you know, dramatize a little bit, put to some music. It is everything you could want.
In production is what it really is.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So, I mean, bring your family. It's a wonderful family event, and you know, as forgive the expression, but as warm and fuzzy as you could ever hope a Christmas event to be.
That's a great. So how do they sign up for that? How do they find out about that?
So you can go to our website at zuzus-petals.org, like we said before, and you can purchase tickets through our website. There are family packages, because I know when you try and bring your whole family to something, things can get a little expensive. But please, you know, come and just help us get the word out there for what we're trying to do in the Kansas City community.
Yeah, they really make a difference. It's really quite remarkable what they do. And so let's talk a little bit about if you would like to donate at Christmas time to help these young men put these packages together that include, you know, the gifts the kids get to pick, the food, the trees, you know, all of the decorations, and then the different events they put on for the kids and the family. So let's just talk about that donate. Well, how do they do that when they go to the website?
So there is a donate page on the website. We are a 501c3, so we are completely tax deductible. And then what I'll also say is we don't have any paid employees. So
all volunteers.
Correct, okay. Correct. There may be a time in the future when we get so big that we have to hire paid employees, but for right now, all of the money that you donate will go directly to the families, and we can guarantee that. And then as far as like hard donations, so if you've got a Christmas tree that you don't use anymore, or you've got some gifts that you'd like to donate, we have a contact us page on our website as well, where you can shoot us an email, you know, give me a text. We'll be giving out my phone number here. So please, I mean, I know that sounds a little bit crazy putting my cell phone number out there, but that's how passionate we are about this. Reach out to us, and we would be grateful for anything that you're able to donate. I mean, I was working a pop-up event just the other week, and this lady writes children's books, and she asked if we'd like to take some of her children's books that she's written. And we said, heck yes, send them on over. So anything that anyone's able to give.
Maybe you're thinking, well, I've got this or I've got that or got access to this or that, but they're probably not going to want that. Don't do that, okay? Go up on the website if you want to do it that way. Zuzus-Petals.org, Zuzus-Petals.org, or you can call John very simply. He's going to give his phone number out here, 816-977-1955, 816-977-1955. If you've got something that you want to donate, I'm sure they'd love to have it. Give them a call or go online. If you want to donate, you can certainly do that. And, this gala is for the family. If you want, obviously, if you're an empty nest or whatever, and you just want to enjoy the memories of Christmas and what it's all about, Country Club Christian is a absolutely gorgeous church. It's a big church, holds a lot of people. So that's December 12th. What a great way to start the Christmas holiday. Maybe you go to this church or that church and they have a Christmas concert or whatever. It's not going to be quite like this is going to be. Okay? Yeah, they've got a full symphony, a huge choir. It's a theater production. It really is what it is, and it's well worth taking your family to and just enjoying, and really kind of sets the tone for the season. So I absolutely urge you, if you have an opportunity to go to that gala, enjoy it and really get in the spirit of Christmas. Once again, that website is zuzu-petals.org, zuzu-petals.org, or 816-977-1955. When we come back from the break, I'm going to ask John, we do this every year, to tell a couple of stories about, because you listen to this and people, when you actually hear what happens to people in this situation, what it means to them, what it's like when they open the door and there's John and his people standing there with the meal, how they get the gifts. We'll talk about that in a minute, how they do the gifts. So the kids don't know that they're getting the gifts from Zuzu's Petals. They think they're coming from the parents. This thing is so well done and so well organized. It's just very, very different in the way they do it. So I'll ask John to tell some of those stories when we come back, so we can personalize this a little bit and let you actually understand, what they do. They definitely need donations. They did 70 families this year. I have a funny feeling they're going to do over 90 this year, the way things are looking. So they're going to need money. They're going to need money, and they're going to need gifts and all of that. So if you want to get involved, once again, 816, if you want to call John, 816-977-1955, or zuzus-petals.org. You go up on the website, there's a contact them page. They'll be happy to reach out to you if you've got something you want to talk about. Maybe you've got something you want to donate and you don't know whether they're going to want it or not. Well, call them, okay? Or go up on the website and send them a quick email. They'll get right back to you. They're very good about this. They know exactly what they're doing, and they'll be happy to do it. So we come back to the break. We're going to get into some of these personal stories. I think you're going to enjoy this, and it'll give you some insight into what they do and what a difference they can make. And why this is really, in my mind, a tribute to these young men and what they've created out of whole cloth, because literally they created this thing. I remember the first year I did this, I think they did 20 or 30 families in the street. Yeah, okay, there you go. 21 families first year, and now we were at 70 last year, and as I said, I'm sure they're going to break 90 this year. So once again, the website, zuzu-petals.org, if you want to learn more. And by the way, you want to tell somebody about this show or have them listen to, hey, maybe we should get involved. Maybe our company should get involved. Maybe our church should get involved. Go up to the website, americashealthcareadvocate.com, or to our YouTube page. Same thing, America's Healthcare Advocate. The show's up there. Listen to it, or one of the 16 podcast platforms. We'll be right back after the break. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate, broadcasting here on the HIA Radio Network, coast to coast across the USA. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate Show, broadcasting coast to coast across the USA here on the HIA Radio Network. If you want to find out more about us, go to the website, americashealthcareadvocate.com. In studio with me today, John Massey. He's the president and one of the founders of Zuzu's Petals. This group of amazing young men. How old's the oldest guy in your group? 35?
31.
Okay.
Actually, he's about to marry my little sister, FYI.
Oh, Lord. Okay. 31 years old, okay? And they started this thing from scratch on their own. It's grown every year. It's remarkable what they've done. And every year we do this show for them because it's the least we can do for the people that they help. And there are a lot of people out there that need help. And the family's fortunate enough to be able to get help from Zuzu's Petals and make the full Christmas. They don't have to do anything. It's all done, from food to gifts to a Christmas tree to ornaments. It's all there, okay? Along with, a Santa's house where they go meet Santa. I mean, this thing is remarkable what they've done and how they put it together. And I urge you to get involved if you really want to do something. You see these large charities and that's great. But if you want to reach out and, as they say, touch someone, here's a chance, okay, to reach out and touch someone. Instead of 70 families this year, it'll probably be like 90. And I'm predicting they're going to have 250, 260 kids by the time they get done with this thing. So the website, zuzu-petals.org, zuzu-petals.org. You can get a hold of John if you want to get involved. Maybe your church, your civic organization, maybe you personally, I don't know, maybe your workplace, maybe you guys would like to do something for Christmas. Think, what could we do? Well, this is something you could do that make a big difference. Give John a call, 816-977-1955, 816-977-1955. So every year I ask you to do this. There's one particular one that I want you to do this year where you showed up at this woman's house. She didn't have anything. She was a single mom, had nothing for these kids. And you showed up at the house for Christmas. You just tell that story, because that story from start to finish is one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when we started, I don't think we quite realized, the depth of need and just how rough it is out there for some families. I mean, the story that you're talking about, it was one of our first deliveries.
I know.
It had been like, it was on our first day of deliveries.
Yeah.
And I've been in communication with this lady for a few weeks. We ran the interview with her, and very, very nice, very upbeat, very, very grateful for what we were going to do for her. And we called her when we were on our way to her house, letting her know that we'll be there in 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was. And she said, awesome. I just knock on the door when you get here and we'll let you in. I'm like, awesome. So we pull up in what's, obviously a pretty rough neighborhood. Most of these places that we go are, more difficult neighborhoods.
Yeah. They're not living in the suburbs in $1 million homes.
No, exactly. And so we go up, we knock on the door, we make sure the address is correct. We knock on the door, and I don't know, we're probably waiting 20 or 30 seconds or so. And a young guy comes up to the door to enter the car, and it's one of their kids. And right off the bat, we're kind of thinking, well, this defeats a lot of the purpose. Like, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
But then what we found out shortly after is we walked in, and the lady that I'd been communicating with was actually lying in a bed in the living room, and she was in hospice. So she did not, unfortunately, she's no longer with us, and she didn't have very long to live at that point. And it was like all she wanted was to just give her two boys that were there, just one Christmas before she left. And that was a lot to take in. This was my first day. We had no idea what to expect when we're going into these houses. And we go in, we try and bring some cheer in there as well. So, we're all really happy, give her a hug. And her two boys are sitting over on the couch, which once again is not ideal, but in this scenario, it is what it is. And so we make the delivery, we say Merry Christmas, give her a hug, and I go over and I say, wish her boys Merry Christmas as well. And from memory, their ages were 14 and 9.
Okay.
And I shake the hand of the 14-year-old, and he was very gracious. And then I go and I shake the hand of the 19-year-old, and I say, hey, bud, Merry Christmas.
9 or 19?
9, I'm sorry. Yeah, 9. Right. And I go shake his hand and I say, hey, Merry Christmas. Hope we're able to step in there for you. And he's staring right into my eyes, and he will not let go of my hand. And there was this very kind of awkward, uncomfortable 10 to 15 seconds there where I'm kind of awkwardly trying to pull away because, I don't know what to do with myself, and he just would not let go of my hand. And eventually he did, and we left. And man, the scene in that car afterwards was, I don't think people really realize, what these things do for people that have nothing. And I mean, those kids probably in the foster care system now, but they had one day, just one day where they didn't have to worry about any of that.
That was the memory with their mom that you created, that they'll never lose.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by illustrating what they do and why it's so very, very different. So for that particular, you provide food, a tree, yes, the whole thing.
The whole thing. Yeah. The whole thing. And it was, I mean, I think it was kind of fitting and obviously like divine intervention that was the first one that we did, or one of the first ones. Because then when you realize, I think, the want that's out there, I mean, it makes everything else easy. There was another one last year where the parents came to Santa's workshop and with the kids. So the kids were with Santa and we were.
And that's where you give so when the parent, you separate the kids from the parents and then you give the gifts.
Right.
So they go put them in the car, the kids never see them.
Correct. Which is, for the audience that doesn't know, that's part of the point, is to let the parents be the heroes in it.
Right.
We're not riding in on a white horse saying like, yeah, exactly. Like, well, I mean, metaphorically. But we want the parents to participate in this. Like, we want them to share in the joy. We want them to be the ones that wake up on Christmas morning and see the joy in their kids' eyes.
So what happened?
So we're working with the parents. The kids are with Santa. We're taking the gifts to the car, and this dad, really, really nice guy. He's telling me how, he lost his job and, he's never had to use a service like this before. And after we take him through, we show him all of the items, make sure that is that he wanted. He starts crying. This is a grown man, that it just starts getting very emotional. And we're there and we're like, hey, like, no worries, we all get down on our luck sometimes. I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this, is my family went through tough times when I was a kid. And he just said, I promise you, he looked at me and he said, I promise you, when things improve for me, I'm going to do this for somebody else. And I was like, well then, man, I mean, God bless you. Like what else do you say to that? But, you tip your cap to him, wish him a Merry Christmas. And
that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't realize, a lot of folks out there living paycheck to paycheck. They miss a couple of paychecks, they're on the street. Okay. I mean, it's rough. And that, for folks in that particular situation. So now you multiply that by Christmas. Well, if they've got enough money for rent or wherever they're living, okay, and groceries, they probably don't have the money for gifts and a really nice Christmas dinner and all the things that come with it. But that's what these folks do. That's why I ask John every year to tell a couple of these stories, because again, there's lots of Christmas charities out there in this town, all over the place. But if you really want to just reach out, as there was an old commercial, I forget who it was, and touch someone, this is a way to do it. Okay. This is a way where you can walk in, make a donation, get involved, go to the gala on December 12th at Country Club Christian. Great opportunity. Have a great time. Bring your whole family. Bring your grandparent, bring your grandkids. Okay. Have a great time and get in the mood for Christmas, but at the same time, realize what you're doing here. You're really helping some people that need help. The website, zuzus-petals.org, zuzus-petals.org. The phone number, 816-977-1955, 816-977-1955. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate, broadcasting here on the HIA Radio Network. Once again, that website is zuzu-petals.org. You want to call John directly and get involved, 816-977-1955. We'll be right back. Stay there. Welcome back. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate Show, broadcasting coast to coast across the USA here on the HIA Radio Network. You can find out more about us going to the website or up on the podcast channels. There's 16 of them, or once again on the YouTube channel. So this particular show, where we're here talking to the folks in Zuzu's Petals, John Massey, president and founder of Zuzu's Petals, along with the other gentlemen that work with him, if your company wants to do something this year, it will make a difference, where you literally are going to make a difference to a family, this might be the place to do it. It's zuzu-petals.org, zuzu-petals.org, or 816-977-1955. If you want to call John, he'll come out and talk to you. Maybe you want to have come and talk to the HR director, the CEO, whatever the case may be. He'd be happy to have a chat with you. So feel free to get a hold of him. They've got a huge gala coming up on December 12th at Country Club Christian. It's a theater production is what it really is, okay? You've got a full orchestra, a 50-member choir. It's just a wonderful time. Food, a great time for people to get together. And that church is beautiful up on Ward Parkway. So that's December 12th. What time is that?
Party starts at 5:30 and then the concert starts at 7:30.
Okay, so 5:30 it starts, and the concert is at 7:30, so it's going to be a great time. All right, so this is Dave's idea, and we've done this before. How did all this just start? Were there 5 of you when you originally started, or 4?
It was actually just 3 of us.
One of the 3 of you, and you belong to St. Vincent's Catholic Church, and that's how you all know each other.
Yep.
Okay, and then one day, what? It's just you're sitting around drinking beer and trying to figure out.
Yeah. It started a long time ago, actually. So Christmas has always been, I've just had
your favorite holiday.
Love for it. My parents always put such an intense amount of effort into making that day just the most magical experience any of my siblings could ever wish for. And as I got older, I think I saw that not everyone had that. And I also saw that, like I mentioned earlier in the show, that my family went through some tough times.
Yeah.
And I remember very specifically my parents being so stressed out about bringing Christmas, right? Because times were tough, finances were tight. And at the time, I'm kind of thinking, I'm fine. I don't need a bike or I don't need that. But I think as I got older, what I realized is whether or not I needed it is kind of irrelevant. The point is that my parents wanted me to have something that they were worried they weren't going to be able to give to me. So anyway, later on, I'm obviously from Australia. I'm not from Kansas City, but my mom's from Kansas City, which is how I ended up here. And she's got a massive family. I've got a lot of cousins in the Kansas City area. I got very close with my cousin Danny after I moved here, who you've met. He's been on the show in previous
every year.
years. And we were both kind of at a point in our careers where we were trying to figure out, what it was we wanted to do long term. And I'd bounced around, tried a couple of different things. And I remember being in a career interview with a mentor of mine who asked me very specifically, what are you passionate about? Which I always hated that question, if I'm being honest, because I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, football,
How about drinking beer?
Yeah, exactly. I'm very passionate about drinking beer.
What's that criteria? I'm really good at drinking beer.
Yeah. Exactly. And what my answer at the time, and this was supposed to be a serious interview, so I couldn't say this, but my answer was Christmas. I mean, it's the one thing that I could think about, work on 365 days a year and never ever get sick of it. I didn't say that in the interview. That later that night, I was over at Danny's house and we were just having a glass of scotch and I was telling him about this and we had a good laugh over, what I wanted to say, but I couldn't say. And that was followed by probably a 30-second silence. And then there was this what if. He grew up very similar to me. So he's one of 11 kids and Christmas was always a huge part of his life as well. And so we were like, well, if you were to take the concept of, say, Santa Claus and you were going to try and make that real, how would you do that? And this is what we came up with. So that's why we
started.
That is how it all started. And I remember I'd started working on this website on Wix.com, which I am the furthest thing from a developer you will ever meet. I know nothing about it. But I built something that I was kind of proud of, honestly. I'd worked on it for about 6 months. And I was in my office at my day job. And then Mak, who you've also met, that's the guy that's marrying my little sister in a couple of months. He was walking past my office and I didn't really know him at the time. I just knew he built websites for the company that I work for. And I pull him in and I was like, so we're about to launch this, could you take a look at it? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. And I show it to him and he's just kind of looking at it. And within 20 seconds, he goes, I mean, what if I just built you one? Which Mac's a super nice guy. I later found out that that's Mac's way of saying this stinks and you should not do this ever again. Just let me do it for you. And I was like, hey, okay. And that's how he then became involved. And so he built his website and then it was Chiefs preseason football. This is 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. We were watching a really crappy game and we launched it. And then that year, we ended up servicing 21 families, 52 kids.
I remember.
Then the next year, it was 127 kids or 45 families.
Yep.
Then last year, it was 208 kids, 72 families. And then this year, I mean, we've already got 80 families in the hopper, and it's October. So like that number is going to grow and grow and grow. And, that's why we're here, trying to let people know what we're trying to do.
And, I do this show every year for a reason, obviously. I've helped these guys every year. I've made donations to them to help them get this thing off the ground and do what it needs to do. They're remarkable at what they do. They're passionate about it. I think you can tell that. Again, as I said, if you want to help somebody, a specific, this is an opportunity where you can get involved with these folks and know that there is a single family out there that's going to benefit from what you're doing, from the way you're helping them. People that wouldn't have a Christmas without what they're doing. Okay, they're remarkable young men. The website is zuzu-petals.org, zuzu-petals.org. If you want to call John, once again, if your company wants to do something, or your church or your civic group, you want to do something, 816-977-1955. The big gala is December 12th at Country Club Christian. Starts at 5 or 5:30? 5:30. Okay, at Country Club Christian goes. Music in the theater start at 7. Bring the whole family. Kick your Christmas off with real music and people that really are going to enjoy Christmas. This is your opportunity. So I urge you to take the time to look into this, to see if you can help these folks and make a difference out there for people that really need a difference. This is John Massey. Thank you once again for coming in here.
Thank you, Karen.
You can tell the other guys playing hooky. They better be here next year.
I'll give them a good ribbon.
Yeah, you should. Okay. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with this thought from Albert Einstein. The one who follows the crowd will usually get no further than the crowd. The one who walks alone is likely to find himself in places no one has ever been. Remember, friends, it's a funny thing about life. If you refuse to accept anything but the very best, you most often get it. Thank you for listening to America's Healthcare Advocate Show, broadcasting coast to coast across the USA. Goodbye, America.